Guys, I guess it's back. Internet got down. Can you hear me? Okay, okay. We see this belly here. Okay, for a little more, I guess, and then I will also go to bed. So, yeah, the more you understand these aspects that they use to compile all this 3D and make them look real, the better you will be able to do the same if you understand what is the thing that they are adding. Um, okay, so yeah, maybe I can do something before going to bed. I can do something in grayscale for now. Uh, okay, let's see. Without anything in mind. Uh, Without anything in mind, you can try several things until something comes into your mind, because you can't endlessly keep pushing things around without expecting anything to happen. Let's say you add a kind of random variation, uh, random, not even keeping in mind anything, um, shapes and whatever, and you keep playing with it without any idea. uh, at some point you will have to lead this to go towards something. You can't endlessly putting random stuff without any kind of idea. So after you do some random shapes, try to imagine something. See if something comes up from the image. For example, these could look like rocks or something. So you imagine a space. Now this is a 3D space. It's not a 2D surface. This is atmosphere here. Um, these things are in front. These things here are going back. You can imagine the planes. You are imagining the planes. If you start with line, if you start with line, you will have some idea, because with line you create some object. Uh, Sorry, I just deleted this. With line you make some statements, you make some object, you create some object, although you can also create shapes. uh, you create some shapes until something comes up. You create some random shapes, move them around. Here, let's say we have created some basic shape, and this is like a dress or something, and the face will be here. um, but with line, if you, it's how you will combine all the things together. With line you made the shape. Now what is this shape? Maybe you want with line you want to create some shapes of light and shadow, so you can say this will be a shape of shadow, and also here, but while thinking with planes. So again you are thinking the same ideas. You keep it in mind that this form is moving like that, so that you can calculate this will be a shadow shape. So it's a matter of how you will bring this together. Again, you have to understand the basics so that you can use them in several ways, um, with line. If you want to use line to show tone, you have to make it compact. As Loomis is saying, you have to make the medium to take another role, to make it look like it will become value. But you will get confused. If you do random thing, you will get confused because you lose concentration. You have to see what you want to create. You have to somehow bring the things together. If you again try to make a grid, if you want to help you with making a kind of space to aid you as you work. Even if it is quite random, okay, but with a vanishing point, um, to place your subject inside, even if you make a kind of gesture, but it's not random, it contains form. Even if I make a gesture here, if I want to put light and shadow, I am thinking of planes, how the planes are moving. Uh, where is the light source? I'm thinking all of this together. Here. Everything is your decision. Initially, you can make it one point just to make a space, but I don't know if it will confuse you, because if you have the point here, it will confuse you to put all the things towards there. All parallel lines will move towards there, so it may confuse you. So make the decision maybe if you will have 2 points or one. Or try both, try to see. That's a good how to say, uh, open a new file and try to do something with two, even if it is like that. uh, Quick horizon line, and imagine that one vanishing point will be somewhere here, and so create something like that, and one other will be right here, and so create like that. And so you have another kind of grid, and keep creating inside it. But you need to do uh, simple objects in simple perspective, so that you can feel how your form will move inside here, as you have seen in the sketchbook, where I did all this simple um, independent perspective stuff. I mean, just figures in perspective grid, and then moving towards another study. uh, you have to feel that the objects are moving inside this grid. They are in different position, but don't forget of the depth. but you have to first do basic objects into this kind of perspective to be able to imagine the whole object fitting inside the perspective. It will be hard to go directly with complex form. So maybe you want to do exercises um, that you create simple perspective grids. Maybe have the vanishing point visible, and start with one point perspective and start placing different objects in this space. Make them feel that they belong inside this space somehow. Uh, Change them in the depth, make them smaller, to feel all the dimensions. And after you have done this, you can then try to introduce something inside this. Maybe here you can have, because it will give you the overall position in the space. You can add a form, a human body here. I'm just using the box for the position, not for the exact proportions, etc. But if this oh no. Anyway, the more you you make a habit of this, because you will learn to understand how to move towards the space, how to feel the canvas as a 3D space. The more you do stuff like that, simple stuff like that, uh, I don't know. Just create objects. Myself, I didn't rush into these things very fast. I was doing simple objects, then a little more complex, a little more complex to feel it. Um, just add objects into perspective. I don't know what else. Just make them belong into the same scene. I guess it is better to, if you play with some 3D software, uh, if you can't begin into imagining this 2D canvas as a 3D space. Maybe it's better if you play with some software and you are maintaining the camera viewpoint, and then you are pushing things forward, backwards, and you get an idea of how things are appearing to be receding and oh, sorry. Can you hear me? Yeah, I guess it will be better if you can play with some software to see. The more you play, the more you experiment, the more the faster you will understand these things. Um, just make it a habit to be drawing everything in a 3D space rather than a 2D shape. Just make a habit of it. Any kind of illustration that you are doing, put it in some kind of a 3D environment, uh, in some kind of perspective. Yeah, simple objects are good for this because especially if you read more about perspective, you will be able to grasp the whole idea very well by using simple objects and by having the right knowledge about it. I haven't read a lot of stuff about perspective, so any kind of perspective I do is because of this kind of training of putting things into some kind of perspective. So I don't have a lot of knowledge, but I have the feeling for it after these studies all these years, and after playing with some software, now with the games that we have that allow you to move the camera around and stuff, you are getting a better experience on a 3D space. um, can you color box to put color here? It's not that specific. First I have to see what is happening here. Let's say that this is a sky, and sky has a certain behavior. If you read about Rayleigh scattering, you will be able to see why sky is blue and stuff. So let's say we create a kind of environment, and the values here are really screwed up because I haven't paid attention. I was just doing a random light and shadow, so I don't know if the relationship are good. Um, the shadows are not similar to the stuff around. You have to have a kind of unity. I have to decide first over a light source. Uh, it's fucked up, really. Okay, so let's say we want to put some kind of color in here, although the values would need to be a lot more uh, careful planning, because I'm not sure if everything is all right now, unified under the same light source, if I can say. So you could add the influence of the light source. Let's say we have this kind of light in the light areas. Quickly influence your light areas. However, I don't yet introduce local color in all the objects. Here, if the light is reaching here, it will create a reflected light that will reach these shadows, and so it will be a warm reflected light, and you will have these sliders increase. uh, Same here. I guess all these planes that are looking down will get influenced by this reflection. But again, now I'm painting the influence of the light and the reflections, so I haven't included any local color so far. If this is the local color in the light, then I have to remember the relationship I did with the value from light to shadow, so it gets complicated. But anyway, let's see. It would be like that. No, you don't have to think of it. You don't have to think the approach. You have to think the idea behind this. Because here the local color got got affected by the color of the light source, which is white in our case, or a little yellow. So this got brighter and more increase in red and more increase in green. So it gets the color. And in the shadow, the light that hit this plane here reflected back into the shadow, and so in the shadow area it increased the red and green. But you have to maintain you have to take pay attention to the value. um, So it's not about how to cover how to change the values from here. Then you have to understand how the color is getting altered by the mixture in the light areas by mixing itself with the light source, the color of the light source, and in the shadow area by receiving light, by receiving reflected light. Uh, no problem, mate. Thanks for coming. I don't know if you can hear me. Don't focus on the process. Focus on understanding why the think that the light will alter the local color. Now, how you will create a process to approach this thing is it's up to you. You could go directly with color and say, okay, I will put flat colors. Let's say I have a local color this here standing here, and now you say I want to put it, what happens when it is under this lighting that is in this scene, and to see what happens. So in the light you have to see the relationship that you have between light and shadow, the difference. um, let's say you move it how it will be in the light here, adding white because for example the light source is white, uh, and you say in the shadow it has a value, it goes down like that, and it will get reflected light more red, and it will drop a shadow here. Yeah, already some bite me already. To get, if you mean how to go from grayscale to color, you can't. First of all, you have to have good values. After that, it will not become uh, it will not become finished just by using one layer. You will have to combine color layer to colorize some things, overlay layer, and then build it up somehow. Up You have to take the grayscale and find a way to create all the color effects, to alter the temperatures, to add the local colors without altering that much your good grayscale base. Uh, it's not the same for every kind of scene because you don't have the best layer modes. Um, there are some standards. For example, they say that multiply layer will create something that happens in reality, that will darken by using black in the multiply layer, will darken your color with maintaining the saturation. And so after you darken the color and maintain the saturation, you know that if some reflected light reaches the shadow, the saturation will have to become altered because of mixture. So even by using the multiple color, the multiple layer by itself, it will not do anything special because you will have to take care of other things, uh, of the reflected light. It will become tiring if you uh, take a lot of time to find the perfect way to do it. it's now it is best now to invest this time to understand what is happening, and then invest time to find the proper way that will be personalized, because you will find your own proper way to do it in the faster way you want it. But for now, worry about understanding why and how things are moving around. Why this value gets like that, uh, because we saw how the value will change according to the relationship of the plane in relation to the light source from this. How the value will change, for example, as it moves away from the light source, as it moves away from facing the light source. Um, and after you understand this, you will start worrying about how the color of the light source will affect these planes. For example, here this one, which receives the most light, will be the most affected by the color of the light source. And then in the shadow, you will start seeing what reflected light reaches this plane. Okay, then I affect it with that color, and of course you will learn that reflected light, because it is reflected, it is less it has less intensity than the light source. So don't make it as powerful as the light source unless you have a kind of artificial uh, light source in the shadow, reaching the shadow. Um, but you will see that after some time all of these ideas combine together. Now it may seem like a mountain, but we tried to connect all of this together, so it is logical to be confusing. Uh, okay, I guess it's time to go to sleep. Um, I think even in the older live streams there are more talk about assigning values and stuff, but overall try to understand light, how light works. We have said already uh, a lot of links that explain these things, so take the time to read them. uh, Take the time to try to do some applications, and little by little these ideas will start making sense. uh, there is a logic behind. I wish I knew these things before, but that's it. I don't know. There is a logic. It's science. It's optics. You have light. Without light, you don't see anything. So try to understand how it works. Um, I don't know what else. Let's see. I will try to do live stream every time I do personal stuff, but just it will be, I guess it will be me drawing several stuff, listening to music, I guess, and maybe it will be somehow it will be the way I study every day, I guess. uh, thank you all for coming, and sorry for bad English and the poor explanation. Hopefully there will be some food for thought in this. Okay guys, have a good night. Thank you very much again. Talk to you later. Bye bye.